let me set up my screen here real quick too, so I get my chat box open so I can see that stuff, and then my participant list going so I can see that as well. That way, when you guys have some questions as we're going through the slides and everything like that, I'll be able to see it. All right, so this is day 2 of the 2-day session for Welcome to Command, Command Unleashed. We're going to really, again, dive deep into all the things that you can use in Command right now to build your business. My name is John Morris, Regional Technology Director for the Maryland, DC region, as well as a KW, excuse me, as well as KW faculty. And I am actually right here in the Northern California, Hawaii region, at least where I live. And I'm a broker associate here as well for the Santa Cruz Market Center and the Stockton Tracy Lodi offices as well. So just to kind of get things going again, the course objective as we went yesterday, I'm not going to spend too much time on these slides because we went over these things yesterday. Just want to refresh your memories just a little bit. Intent of the course is to make sure that we're utilizing the tools inside of Command to help us run an MREA-based business, because that's ultimately what Command is meant to do, is to make sure that we're going out there, we're running our businesses closer to the model as possible. And by doing so, we're going to have lives that are going to be better because we're going to make more money or have more time, or maybe a combination of both. So I'm going to just jump into it. Again, we talked a little bit yesterday on introduction. Not going to do a big introduction on myself again. We dove really deep into opportunities yesterday. We started to kind of get into sites. I showed you guys how quick and easy it was to make a landing page. Today, we'll jump into setting up your consumer app, how to get that out to your agents with smart plans, and then, or not your agents, to get that out to your consumers with smart plans. We'll go how to set up your agent site as well, and some things that you can do with your agent sites, as well as the neighborhood snapshots. I really love that part of Command. And then we'll wrap up the day talking a little bit about designs and campaigns. And then we'll kind of go over any ahas that you guys have. So hopefully you guys learned something and have some ahas for me at the end. Again, want to make sure that I put my information up there really quick in case you weren't here yesterday. My email address is johnmorris@kw.com. Website is john.kw.com. And then you can also find me on Facebook as well. Schedule again, 1:30 start time. We're a little bit behind on that by 2 minutes because I wanted to give you guys time to get logged in. We're going to take another break at about 2:15. We'll resume basically the course at 2:25. That'll give everybody a chance to make a couple phone calls, maybe get something to drink, and then we'll wrap up right around 3 o'clock. I'll stick around after 3 in case you guys have any questions. I know we ended yesterday right about 3, but we had about 10 minutes worth of some ahas and questions. So happy to stick around to make sure that we answer any of the questions that we have. Just want to kind of go over the ground rules again. Make sure if you can to turn on your cameras. It's always good. It helps. I think everybody learn better when we can kind of see each other. Again, make sure that you ask questions. So if I'm going too fast, say, hey, John, can you slow down? Hey, John, can you repeat what you just said? I want to make sure that I get it. If you aren't clear on something, make sure that you ask those things. You can do that by unmuting yourself, or you can type into the chat box, because as we're doing the course, I'll be looking at the chat box as well too, okay? Please mute yourself when you're not basically talking though. That way if there's any background noise like dogs, kids, who knows what. Last week I had yard guys redoing my backyard, and there was a bunch of stuff going on at my house. So if there's anything that's kind of going on for background noise, make sure that you turn the mute button on. And then make sure you have fun, play all in, just kind of do what you did yesterday. You guys did a great job, especially at the end of asking some questions. You brought some great stuff and provided some good feedback, I think, for everybody. So let's jump into it. We went over these 2 things yesterday. I'm not going to hop over it today. So we're going to go back into the sites and app. And then one other thing on ground rules, I mentioned this yesterday. I want to make sure I mention it again today. If you're asking a question that doesn't really relate to the topic we're talking to. I want to make sure we cover the things that we set out to cover, because that's why everybody showed up here for. So if you ask a question that doesn't necessarily relate to what we're talking about, I'll just let you know, hey, listen, if we have time at the end, we'll go over that, but we need to make sure that we stay on track and cover the topics or the questions relating to the content that we agreed we were going to talk about today. Okay, and so then if you have those questions, we'll try to hit them at the end, and then if not, then again, feel free to reach out to me offline, and we can talk about some of those things as well too. All right, so let me go in now and get into Command, and we'll jump into it. So I'm going to change my screen share, and we want to go into Command. So now you guys should see my command screen. Let me move my screen over a little bit so I can kind of navigate both a little bit better. So I'm going to just log in using my username and password. Now, one of the things I really wanted to kind of go over too, this is a little bit of a bonus for you guys as far as that goes. If you've been using Twilio, we just literally had an update this morning. So I want to make sure that you guys can see that. It looks like I want to make sure that you guys got my screen share here. Okay, there we go. Looked like it paused for a second. So one of the things I want to make sure you guys are aware of is that if you've been using Twilio and you haven't done the update this morning, your Twilio account has been paused. Because we're changing over the pricing models, or we're not, Twilio is. We got a new agreement with them. We're going to go, instead of a pay-as-you-go, to a monthly subscription to utilize Twilio. And that gives us a whole bunch of features that we didn't have in Twilio before. And so you have to basically subscribe to a new plan. So if you have a Twilio account connected already, it's been paused. In order to resume it, you're going to need to go in and update that. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quick, because I know that's going to be kind of a pressing issue or an urgent issue for some people. Because if you have people on smart plans and there's text messaging on those smart plans, they've been stopped as of this morning, or at least the text messaging portion of it, until you go and you reignite that Twilio switchover. And so it's really easy to do. You just go into the marketplace icon at the top right, and then when you do that, you're going to go in here. You can just, in the Find Applications box, you can type Twilio. That's T-W-I-L-O, or excuse me, T-W-I-L-I-O, right? And then you can go in here and hit View Profile. And then once you hit View Profile, you can choose the plan that you want. And so basically you can see here, the extra small version is $3.16 a month. You'll get 300 credits for that. If you want small, 600 credits at $5.32, 1,500 credits is $11.80, 3,000 credits is $22.60, all the way up to 15,000 credits for $109, right? And so you can take the tour to get the information on that. I was typically spending about 20 bucks a month already anyway, so this is the one that I opted for. So you just pick the plan that you want, you click on that. It's going to tell you basically what it includes. So it's going to give you a Twilio number. It's going to basically, any unused credits that you don't use in a given month are going to roll over to the next month. If you want to send one text message out, it's going to be 3 credits to do that. If you want to, or excuse me, I take that back. If you want to send one multimedia message out, meaning you want to send like pictures or video or something along those lines, that costs 3 credits. If you want to send basically one SMS out, it's only in 1 credit. So like, for example, I opted on to the 3,000 credit plan. So I could theoretically send 3,000 text messages out for $22.60 if I wanted to. And it's send or receive. So if you're getting those text messages back, that counts as a credit as well too. If you do it to another country or other countries, then it's going to cost you 2 credits for other country area codes. And then basically, again, if the text messages can go to 160 characters. If it goes over 160 characters, then they're going to charge you for 2 text messages instead of 1. So make sure you're trying to keep those text messages short. Once you pick your plan, right, then it's going to basically take you to a payment page where you'll pay it, right? And then once you make that payment, right, I'm not going to pay anything because obviously I've already done that. Once you've done all the payment stuff, right, then basically you can go back into the settings of Command. And then when you go to settings, after you've completed the payment on Twilio, you'll go down here and then you'll basically have two options. You can either transfer the current number you have with Twilio if you don't want to change it, or if you want a new number from Twilio, then you can select a new number through here. Now, one of the things I'll let you guys know, if you select a new number, it'll engage your Twilio account right away. If you're going to transfer your number, Twilio says it could take up to 24 hours for the transfer of the number to complete. So like, for example, you can see on mine, I transferred my number because I didn't want a new number. So it's just letting me know that the transfer is pending, and by tomorrow, the migration should have happened. So that's how you change that Twilio account over. There's a lot of resources for it online as well too. A good friend of mine actually put a video on YouTube this morning. So really quick, I'm going to actually access that video, and then I'll put it in the chat box if you want to see a step-by-step tutorial later and you want to go back and do that. So let me get that link for you guys real quick. And then we'll get on with the rest of the stuff. Just like I said, I wanted to make sure that we covered that because I know that's going to be a big issue today for people, is making sure that that happens. So in the chat box, I'm putting a link to my good friend Fred Moore. He's a regional tech out of the New England region. Did a video tutorial on that. All right, so let's get back into where we were leaving off at the websites. So we're going to go into consumer. And then under consumer, if we want to get to our website and we want to set our website up, right? Basically what we're going to do here is when we go into consumer, at the bottom left corner, you guys can see this configure your site button. So we're going to click that configure your site button. And then it's going to ask, what provider do you want to use for your sites? I'm not going to go over these things because these are non-Keller Williams stuff. So you're kind of on your own if you want to do that. I'm encouraging everybody to utilize the new KW agent sites. So we're going to click that first one, and then we're going to click submit. And then this is going to just take you through a Kelly wizard really quick. And if you guys want to follow along as I'm going, feel free to do that. And again, make sure you're asking me questions if you guys have any questions on that. So you're just going to click the Get Started button. And then it's going to say that you have to make sure that you're in compliance with everything like that. You need to have your DBA logo in your site. And if you need a DBA logo, make sure you reach out to Stacy. Stacy will be able to get that out to you, or Olivia will be able to get that out to you as well too for your guys' market center. So I'm going to just click acknowledge and continue. First thing that you're going to want to do when you get into this wizard is pick what your domain name's going to be. So like, for example, I got john.kw.com, pretty easy to remember. So you can select anything that you want here, but it's going to be at a .kw.com address. And all you got to do is write in whatever you want, hit confirm domain, and then the system will tell you whether or not it's available. If it's available, they'll assign it to you. If it's not, they'll say, hey, pick something else out, okay? Now, I have agents that a lot of times will say, hey, listen, John, I don't want a .kw.com. You know, my website is superstar, Silicon Valley superstar realtor.com, and that's what I want. What you need to do in that particular case, you still, your root domain needs to be a KW.com one. If you want to get a personalized or a vanity domain, you can go to GoDaddy or Namecheap or one of those providers, buy a domain there, and then you basically just forward that domain name to this site that you select here, right? So if I wanted to put ripponrealtor.com, because I live in Ripon, right? I could buy ripandrealtor.com from GoDaddy, and then I can go into my settings, and then I can say, hey, I want to have ripandrealtor.com point to or forward to john.kw.com. And then when people typed in or would type in ripandrealtor.com, it would take them to my website, okay? And I know that GoDaddy has a really great customer service department. So if you don't know how to forward domains that you buy to other websites, just reach out to them for support, and they'll be able to set that up really easily for you guys. Okay, so pick out your domain. After your domain's done, the marketing profile that you enter into your marketing profile under settings, all that information should pull in here. So you shouldn't have to redo it. So I got your name, your last name, your market center brokerage number. It's going to pull in your address, your team or your business name, your job title, your email address, office number, mobile number, bio, your agent license number, your compliance information that you need to have, and then your market center's brokerage number, it will be in there. And then your market center's, or your basically your brokerage office number. And then you can put in any compliance or legal footer links that you want to, if you wanted to put in links to anything on there. And if there's any images like the Equal Housing Opportunity logos or any of that kind of stuff, you can upload any logos in for your legal footer as well. And then under imagery, your profile pic should pull over. Your market center brokerage logo should pull over. Team logos are in there as well. And then any social media buttons that you want to put on there, as well as your app link, right? So just make sure that all this information is correct, and then you guys can click basically next or save and continue. I take that back. One of the things I want to point out though, because this is where people get screwed up on this a little bit, is when it asks for a phone number. You can see my phone number, the dashes populate in here. They don't do it in here. It says your number excluding spaces or special characters. If I entered in a dash there, what it would do is the system automatically is going to add the dashes in for me. And so if I put a dash in there, it's going to put 2 dashes in there, and it will make the phone number not format correctly. So it actually won't let me continue on. So when you're entering in the phone numbers, just make sure that you're not putting in any dashes. Just enter the whole number as a consecutive digit. No spaces, no dashes, or anything like that. Okay? And then after you do that, you should be able to hit save and continue. And then that's going to take you into setting up your theme. You can see here that I have the dark theme set up. This gives me kind of the search button, the sign up button, my buttons down here, all that's kind of dark. If you wanted to change that and have red show up there, you can choose between the dark or the red theme. In addition to that, it's going to say, hey, what do you want your homepage text to be? And the homepage, when you go to my website or any of the other Keller Williams websites, is going to have a search feature right at the front of the thing, right? Because ultimately, the #1 thing consumers say that they want when they go to a real estate website is to search for homes. So we're going to give them what they want, right? When they come to our sites, we're going to put right bold featured, hey, here's how you start searching for homes. And you can customize the text on what you want it to say. So mine, it says find your dream home. If you guys want to type something else in there, you could fill that in this spot right here. And then you can have up to 5 different images that are in this spot, right? And so if you guys, especially if you guys represent or you focus or your farm is in a specialized area, maybe you want to put some pictures or some images in that represent some of the markets or the areas that you work a little bit more. To make it personalized a little bit, to make it more relevant about the location that you're in, and in addition to that, to make it so that your website doesn't look like every other Keller Williams agent's website either. Now on here, it's going to tell you some of the requirements for images. The recommended size is 1200 by 1200 pixels, and then you can upload up to 500. And the images are going to display randomly in backgrounds as people visit your site. So if I go to your site today, I might get 1 image. If I go to your site tomorrow, it might be one of these other images. So you can put up to 5 images on there. Once you're good with your images and what your thing says and what your the color scheme of your site, you just hit save and continue. And then now we go in and we need to update some of this stuff. So I'm going to show you something really quick, just as we're going along, so you can see what it looks like in real time. So when you're on an agent site here, this is my agent site, john.kw.com. If I do the drop down, you can see the order that all this stuff appears in. Now, if I want to change the order for right here, so you can see my drop down as I'm building this out, it says company profile, about me, or contact us. Let's say I wanted my about me to show up before my company profile. I could just click on the 6 dots, hold it and drag it, and then that will change it to have the about me show up first in the drop down, have the company profile show up second, and the contact show up third. Now you might be saying, hey John, yours has all these other things besides about me, company profile, and contact us. Yes, you can add multiple pages to your website. That's a little bit more advanced, so we probably won't get into that today in an hour and a half. Like I told you guys yesterday, I could probably do 2 months worth of training on command without running out of content. So that's not something that we'll get into. However, I'm going to give you some resources that you can use if you want to add multiple pages to your site like I do. The 3 ones out of the gate that basically Keller Williams puts on your website is the company profile, the about me, the contact us, and then the home page, which is the search page, right? And the reasons this is that at a bare minimum, what Keller Williams realized is that those are the basic things that we need to have on our site. Anything else is really just kind of extra, because when they polled consumers and asked consumers, hey, what do you guys want out of a website? There were 4 things that just repeatedly came up again and again and again, and they didn't really care about the rest of the stuff. And well, you probably guessed it. The 4 things they wanted: how do I search for a home, right? I want to know a little bit about the company. I want to know a little bit about the agent that I might be working with. And if I got questions, I want to know how to contact them. So those are the 4 things that an agent can do right out of the gate with our sites. So after you get the navigation order set up the way you want it to go, you can go into SEO, search engine optimization. We're going to put the page title. So in this particular example, the first one was company profile. So I'm going to just title it the way that I have it there, company profile. The URL slug, it should automatically plug that stuff in for you. If you want to type something different in, because maybe I wanted to say, this was my command training. I wanted to make a page about command training. So I'm going to put in command training as my title. And then in the slug, I would put in command dash training. Because in a slug, you can't put in any spaces or special characters, right? So you might say, well, what is that? This is how this looks. So I got john.kw.com, but if I want to go to my page that's command training, you can see if I click that, it's john.kw.com/command-training. So that's what the slug is the part that's going to show up on an individual page. So you shouldn't necessarily have to do this on the pages that are already created for you, because they should just do that. You will need to put in some SEO description here though. And SEO description in its simplest, I guess, easiest form, you could Google it so that you can really see how to optimize this. But basically, the way search engines work is somebody Googles, San Jose real estate, right? An SEO description should be something that is basically a statement about your page, not your whole site, but the page that somebody is looking at. It should be a single, like a sentence about that page. And it should have like 2 keywords in there that might be search terms people are looking for. So if somebody's looking, say, if I think people are searching for San Jose real estate, an example of an SEO description for company profile might be, say for example, I work out of the Tracy Market Center, or Tracy Business Center. So, Keller Williams, Tracy, California, servicing buyers and sellers of residential real estate transactions, right? So now basically the keywords in there are buyers and sellers and residential real estate. So I threw in a couple keywords into that sentence, at the same time letting people know what my page was about. Under my About Me, I could put something on like the John Morris Real Estate Group, assisting buyers, home buyers and home sellers in transacting on their real estate, purchases and sales, right? So now it's saying a little bit about me and has a couple keywords in there that if people are searching on Google, or any other search engine, those keywords that they're searching should match up with my website, or at least a page on my site, at the same time letting people know what that page is about. Okay, because what Google doesn't like is you just throwing keywords in there that give no description about what the page is like. So if every page I put on here that's about buyers and sellers, buyers and sellers, buyers and sellers, buyers and sellers, and I don't put anything about company profile, even though it's a company profile page, that's actually going to hurt me a little bit. So you want to make sure that you tell a little bit about what the page is about, and then throw in 1 or 2 key search terms in that statement as well. So I'm going to do that for SEO. And then once I got the SEO done, I'm going to go to the content drop down, and then I could put in, again, the name of my page, right? And that's going to be this header right here. If I want to put an image in there, I can put an image in there that's going to be a little bit more reflective of what I'm trying to do. I got my intro paragraph, which will show up here. And then I could put in a headline title, which will show up here. And you can see that you put that in here. I could type in what I want to describe here under the paragraph. And then I can upload a little image here to kind of reflect something there. And then I can do that for section 2 as well. In addition to that, I got my footer title. So if I want to put a footer, I can do that. And then if I want to put a paragraph in there about the footer, I could put that in there. If I leave any of these things blank, they just won't show up on the site. All right, so if I don't have a footer I want to put in, I can leave footer title. I can just delete that out, and then I can delete the paragraph out. Now, once I do this, that's going to create that page for company profile. When I hit continue, which I'm not going to hit continue because I don't want to go through this step and mess up my website that I already have created, right? So, but once I hit continue, it's just going to take me to the About Me part. And then I'm going to do the SEO for the About Me page. And then I'm going to do the content for the SEO for the About Me page. And then after I click continue again, it's going to take me to the Contact Us page. And then I'm going to do the SEO for the Contact Us page. And then I'm going to do the content for the Contact Us page. And then once I click continue that last time, that'll complete the wizard, and then it'll just say, hey, here's some things that you can do next. And just so that you can see how that kind of looks. So like the company profile here, if you want to see a finished version, I'll show you mine. So if I go to company profile, I did a little bit of a different take on my company profile. And the reason I did that is because I work out of 2 market centers, not just 1. And so I didn't want to make one thing all about Santa Cruz or one thing all about Tracy, because that wouldn't reflect how I do business. So what I did, rather than talk about Keller Williams Tracy or Keller Williams Santa Cruz, I talked about a little bit about how I operate my business in both those places. So for company profile, I put full service real estate team helping you navigate buying, selling, and investing while providing the highest level of customer service by always placing the customer first. So I put my value proposition as my introduction, right? So in the Kelly guide, that would be what kind of shows up here. Right? And then the first section headline, I put servicing the San Joaquin Valley. So this represents a little bit about where I service in the Valley from the Tracy office. A lot of vineyards in the Valley, so I put some images of some grapes here to make that a little bit more reflective of what I'm doing there. And then under the second headline, I put in servicing Santa Cruz County, and I put in a little bit about there with an image of the beach, because obviously that's what's there. And then in my footer headline, in my footer description, I put in the headline as kind of like tagline of my value prop, always putting the customer first. And then every page on your site should have some sort of call to action. So under my footer text or footer description, I just put in contact us today for all your real estate needs. And then you got your contact us stuff down at the bottom anyway. So that's really how you set up your agent site. Now, I told you guys that if you wanted to set up like I said, I'm not going to go over this today, but if you guys wanted to set up custom pages on your site, if you want to add more pages to your site like I have here, if you go to my website, which my website again is john.kw.com, so I'll put that in the chat box. So if you go to john.kw.com and you go to command training, under command training, I have some video tutorials on how to add pages to your websites, right? So if I wanted to add a Keller mortgage page to my site, I could do that, right? So this walks you through how to set up custom pages on your sites. So you can go and watch those videos. It'll kind of walk you through that process, okay? And then one of the things I wanted to show you as well on some cool things just that you can do with this, okay, is like this is what I did, because I live in Ripon, California. And so if I go to Ripon by neighborhoods, here's a custom page that I did on my site. Is I broke down, here's an image, custom image that is on Ripon. It says Ripon by neighborhoods. And then what I did is I added all the neighborhoods that are inside of Ripon so that if somebody wants to come to my website, I'm giving them a one-stop shop and they can really focus in on specific neighborhoods. So like, for example, if I live in Ripon West. So if I wanted to get information about Ripon West, I can go to John's site and without having to do any searches on my own or filtering on my own or any of that other stuff, I just click one button, hit Ripon West, and then that's going to open up the Ripon West section on my website that has the map. I can see all the homes that are for sale really quickly. And I can just hovering over the map, I can take a look at that and I can say, oh man, I really like this one right here, right? I can click it and then that'll open that up. I can also get the neighborhood stats. I can hit explore neighborhood, then that'll open up the neighborhood page on here. And then that will give me market statistics on Ripon West, 12 homes for sale, 7 pending. Here's what the locals say, walkability scores, market snapshots, transit and commute times, nearby schools, Yelp reviews on this neighborhood, or at least businesses in that neighborhood, etc. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. On my website, there was the video to show you how to set this up if you wanted to do that for any neighborhoods that you guys work, okay? So that's setting up the websites. Now, chat question came in. I'm going to take a look at this here really quick. Okay, so this is a question about postcards. So Robert, at the end, if we have time, we'll kind of go into that a little bit.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have two. One, does it ever prompt the end user to log in, sign in to capture while they're browsing and perusing?
Well, each one of the pages on your website. So if I go to my website.
I know, I saw it at the bottom. Does it ever like pop up?
Yeah, no, there's not any pop-ups or anything like that, right? But here's the thing is that, so say for example, I go to that spot. Hey, I'm checking out Ripon stuff, okay? And then I got Ripon West. So it's not gonna just automatically pop up. However, if I really like this house that I was telling you about here, I can say, or let's just do this one here. I could say, hey, listen, I like this one, so I'm gonna click it. And then when I click it, if I want to say, I want to favorite it, right? If I'm going down here and I want to save it, now it's going to prompt me, hey, you need to sign up for an account if you want to save it. Hey, I don't want to see this one anymore. It's going to prompt you to sign up for an account. Hey, I got a question about this. It's going to prompt you to sign up for an account. Hey, I want to schedule a tour. Same thing, right? So if somebody wants to interact and they want to see it or they want to get more information, and they click any of those things, then it's going to ask them for that information. And then you also have the stuff down here at the bottom as well too. And then if they want to click for information on Keller Mortgage, they can click that. Now what's cool about that is that and it happened really fast, but when they click through from my website, right? So I'm going to do that one more time. when they click through my website, there's a quid number up here, which is my KWUID. So now that puts a tracking cookie in here. So if somebody signs up for a mortgage or to get mortgage information and they don't sign into my account, Keller Mortgage is going to let me know that somebody that visited my website had applied for a mortgage too. Okay. And then the same thing with Keller Covered. So you'll get that information there. So that's a way that you could do that.
And I have one more question, sorry.
Sure.
Some of the custom pages that you've made, they're not mobile responsive. So a lot of the stuff is cut off in the mobile version, and more than 80%.
Yeah, that's something that Keller Williams just needs to, I mean, the website stuff, we need to work on getting some of that to be a little bit more mobile responsive. Okay. With that, because when you're creating the custom stuff, some of that doesn't relay out perfectly there. So that's one of the negatives of that. On the flip side of that, if I'm having somebody, technically, I mean, really, personally, myself, I don't care about my website too much anyway, because ultimately I know that that's not the way people are looking for properties so much anymore. What I want my website to do is just a landing page that people can go and learn a little bit more about me, how I do business, because ultimately what I want them to do is I want them to download my app and do everything off of the app as well. Okay. And then it said on there, I had a question saying, hey, can you boldface any text in the description? If you do the custom pages, and that, which I show you in there, you're going to have to do a little bit of HTML coding to make that happen. Now, if you watch my videos, you don't need to be an expert on HTML coding, so don't worry about if you don't know how to do that. I kind of show you what you need to do. I got templates in there. The other thing is if I go into a website and I just do a Google search, HTML to Word converter, right? And I want to do anything custom on my site. I can go into any one of these things, right? And I can say, hey, listen, I want to type this out and I want it to look like this. John is a great trainer. And I want this to show up in bold on whatever I want it to do. Then I can do it in bold. Then what I do is after I get, and I can center this, I can add images, I can do whatever I want. And then when I want to get the HTML code, I just click HTML and then I copy that. And then I paste that into the section where we're creating our content. And again, those videos I got on my site will show you how to do that stuff. So if you don't know how to write code, just go to wordhtml.com and then you can use the word editor to get whatever it is that you want. And then when you need the code for it, you just click HTML, you copy it, and then you paste that into the spots. And I show you in those videos where to paste stuff at, okay? All right, so that answers that question there. We got about 5 minutes before we go to break, so I'm gonna get through the app stuff really quick because it doesn't take that long actually anyway. So I'm gonna go back to my command. And then I'm gonna go back to where it says consumer. And then you can see here where it says site and app settings. So I'm gonna hit site and app settings. And then I can go over here to where it says guide builder, right? Or I can click where it says learn more with Kelly guides, right? And then I'm gonna say, hey, I wanna go to set up my consumer settings, or in guide builder, I can go into where my guides are at. And all this is going to do is, it's going to take me through a couple tutorials. So I'm going to go actually back, because if you haven't done this for the first time, the place you're going to want to access it is under Site and App Settings. You're going to hit Learn More with Kelly Guides. And then once that pops up, let me hit it one more time. Let me hit refresh. Hit reload. I'm gonna hit the Kelly guides. I'm not sure if my internet's a little slow or if command's running a little slow right now. Sometimes you get on Zoom calls and things run a little bit slow. So when you hit learn more with Kelly guides, you don't want to hit agent site. We've already done that. You want to do the one that says consumer settings. So we're going to pick consumer settings. We're going to hit continue. We'll just click leave. And then this helps us set up our app. So I'm gonna hit get started. You could read this. I'm gonna just click next. And then now basically it's gonna take you through the walkthrough to set up your app. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is click the arrow where it says app download. And then basically you're gonna create a landing page so that when you direct people to this website, they can download your app. So you put in the header or the text that you want your app to say. I bought a URL from GoDaddy because this long app code or this app link, pretty hard for somebody to memorize. So I made it easier. And what I did is I just went to GoDaddy and I bought a URL called theinfiniteapp.com. Because that's a lot easier to remember than https://app.kw.com/KW2D5V92E. That's a little bit tough for me. So I bought the infiniteapp.com, forwarded that to this link. And then now basically when I tell people to go to that website, they can download my app. And then because I call it the Infinite App, that's why I had the hero text. It's, hey, it's the only app, real estate app you'll ever need. Because I want people to kind of get that marketing, branding that, hey, I only need to use John's stuff. So you can put the hero text in here. Your app link's going to be in here. Once you got the hero text in, you're going to click next. And then you can put in, do you want to show featured listings on your app? And then if you want to, you can toggle that on. I would suggest you do. And then you can basically select up to 12 different listings to feature on your app at any given time, as far as that goes, right? And then you can hit save and continue. And then after you do that, now you can hit setup. And then you got guide template that's going to show up next. And then you can choose either buyer's guide or seller's guide. So I'm going to hit buyer's guide. And then I'm going to go and click next. And then you just set up your buyer's guide. So I can customize this by customizing my title, and that shows up here. I can customize the message I want to give to my buyers, which then shows up here. And then after you get the title and your message the way that you want it to be, you click next. And then it has the pre-default stuff that's already in here for you. And these are all the steps that you're going to take somebody through in a real estate transaction from start to finish for a buyer at least. If you don't like the order that these are in, you can click and hold the dots and drop and drag them to be the order that you want it to be. If I click the arrow button, I can change the title that I want by clicking the title. I can change the information for each section in the subtitle area here. If I want to change the image to customize it and make it more about me, I can delete the image and upload an image there. If I don't like this step, I can delete the step. Once I'm good with this particular step, right, I can just go in and I can go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one until I have everything done the way I want it to do. If there's a step that I'd like to do with my buyers that's not on here, I can add a guide step and customize the title, the description, and the image for any one of those steps. And then what's really cool about this is that when you're done and the consumer gets it on their app, they can open their app up. They have the guide on the buying or selling process, depending on if they're a buyer or seller for you, right? And then these dots are actually check marks. So the consumer can say, get pre-approved. Okay, John told me I need to get pre-approved. I'm going to go out to the lender. Hey, I got pre-approved. The consumer can then check off inside of the app that they got that done. That will then notify me that they've completed that guide step inside of Command so that I know, okay, hey, great, Joe's gotten pre-approved now. So now we're ready to start the search. So I'm going to give him a call up and say, hey, Joe, that's great. I saw that you got pre-approved. Let's start getting some criteria down for your search. And then I can take him through the search process. We can start looking at homes, making offers. And then on my side, I can check off things that I might be responsible for. Joe can check off things on his side that he might be responsible for. And then in real time, I'll be able to see the things that he was supposed to do when they're checked off. And then he'll be able to see the things that I was supposed to do when they're checked off too. So we can always maintain basically full transparency into what's going on within the real estate transaction, which is pretty awesome, right? So then once I'm done with that, I just click next, pretty simple. Buyer's guide's done. If I want to add a guide, I can click add guide, go to the seller's guide now, and go through the same process for the seller's guide that I went through buyer's guide. Just now I'm going through all the things I'm going to take a seller through. And then once I'm done with that, you can see I have both those guide steps done. And then when I'm done with both of those steps, I can click next. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to toggle on that I want to be able to utilize the Promote My App Smart Plan. And then I can add all my database onto this smart plan to get them to download my app. So what that smart plan is going to look like, an email is going to go out to them saying to download the app. And then it's going to send a text message the next day. And then 3 days later, it's going to send another text message out asking them to download the app as well too. So it's going to be a 3-step smart plan to get your clients or your consumers to download your app for you. And you can either, and again, once you toggle this on, you can either click the person with the plus here and then start adding people from here, or you could just go into smart plans anytime you want to and add people to this to the app smart plan anytime you want, right? Once you're good with that, you just click next, and it's going to give you a little bit of, hey, this is what you did, and then you're good to go there, right? Now, I'm going to give you guys a 10-minute break. We're 3 minutes past our break time, so we'll say we're going to come back at 2:28. In that time, I'm going to grab something to drink real quick, but then I'm going to put some video tutorials of that app setup process that I've already done, and they're on YouTube, so that you guys will be able to see those things if you want to go back and watch how to set that up. Plus, you guys got the video of this that Stacy and Olivia are going to be able to get out to you guys as well. So I actually ate up another minute. So come back at 2:29, and then we'll power through designs and campaigns for the last half hour. All right, it is 2:29, and so we are back. We're going to hop back into it so that we make sure that we wrap up on time for you guys as well too. And it looks like Stacy just noted in here that that Atef it's his birthday. So I just want to say happy birthday as well to you there too. Okay. Other question that popped in. I put a couple of YouTube videos in there from my YouTube channel asking if those videos are on the commandclass.com. The commandclass.com that I gave you guys yesterday was more of a some training stuff. These ones I did a little bit after, and I just put those on my YouTube channel. So those aren't on Command Class. Those are on my YouTube channel. And that's another thing too. I know that some of you guys emailed me yesterday asking for updates when I put new training out. A lot of the new training that I do, I put it on video. And so if you just subscribe to my YouTube channel, whenever I put a new video out, I'll always upload it on there as well too. All right, so we got designs and campaigns next. I'm going to go in and I am going to share my screen on command again, and then we'll get into talking a little bit about those two topics. So it's going to take a little bit more time to go over campaigns. So I'm going to jump into the designs really fast. I'm not going to spend too much time here because there's a lot of resources out on this. But designs, I'm just going to click the designs button here. And then when I click the designs button, it's going to give me a bunch of list of things that are here. Now, with the list here at the top, sometimes people think, oh, I want to create a print marketing piece. I need to click this button. That's not what you do. These buttons up here, all they're doing is they're basically saying, hey, I want to find out all the email templates I created. I click that. This gives me all the email templates that I've created. Hey, what about my landing pages that I've created? If I click that, this gives me all the landing pages that I've created. What about social media pictures that I post to social media? This gives me all the ones that I've created for that. Print gives me all my print marketing pieces that I've created. Any agent site pages that I've created will show up there. And then any videos that I want to create show up here as well too. Okay. If I want to create a new one, I click the blue button down here. And then it's going to ask me, do you want to create an email piece, a social media piece, a print marketing piece, a video, or a PDF? I'm just going to go and show you social because if you know how to do social, that tells you kind of how to do print. And video I'll go over when we get into the social media stuff in a little bit. So I'm going to just click social. I'm going to click next. And then give me 1 second here. I got to open up my chat box again because I see something popping in. Open up my participants tab so that I can see that as I'm waiting for that to pop up. Okay. It says, a question popped in. It says, hey, John, will you be touching on KWS today? Whether you are or aren't, could you quickly comment on which MLSs KWS syndicates to and which it does not? Are Zillow and Redfin included? So if you put something into KWS, it will syndicate to both Zillow and Redfin sites as well. And so just make sure when you're putting that stuff in there, it should syndicate out. If Ryan, if you're having any problems with any of those syndication things, those are things that you can directly escalate to Zach, and then Zach will make sure that he because anytime there's basically, when you have an issue with command, normally you're going to go to your Market Center tech trainer, and the Market Center tech trainer is going to ask you for a Loom video. You guys are going to try to figure out what the problem is, put a support ticket into support, and then if you don't get a response after a while, it can be escalated up to the regional tech. There are 2 instances where you can escalate something immediately up to support. And the 2 instances is if there's a problem in command or a bug in command that's preventing you from getting paid, because we want to make sure that you get paid when you're supposed to get paid. So that's something that your Market Center tech trainer can immediately escalate up to Zach. The second thing is MLS issues. If an MLS issue, there's an MLS thing that's not pulling over and it's not showing up or syndicating into any of the other sites like Zillow, that can be escalated up to regional tech right away, which will then get an immediate response from our regional support champion who will handle or help with that stuff. So not going to necessarily be touching on that because if you put something in the KWS, it's supposed to syndicate into all of those things. And if it doesn't, for some reason, that's something you're going to need to escalate up through the regional. Okay. So now that I get into here, I can go in and I can do, you get these subcategories. Do I want to do a post on my app? And then I can get all these different app links. If I want to do something on listings, I can do any of these types of things. If I want to do something on buyers, I can do the buyer stuff. Lead gen, I got all these categories. And so let's just say, for example, I took a new listing. I want to put in, hey, just listed. So I want to post this to my social media stuff. So I'm going to take just listed. I want to post it to Facebook. So I'm going to choose Facebook. And then I can say, which one of these images do I want to post to Facebook? I really like this one because it's pretty clean. So I'm going to click on this one and click use. So what's really cool about this is that we can go in here and we can add our images to our library and all that good stuff. And so when we do this and we add these to our library, then we only have to add it once. We don't have to add them multiple times. So I can go in here and I want to put my agent photo in. So I'm going to click to add that in there because maybe I want to put my agent photo in. So I'm going to click that, shrink that down a little bit. Maybe I drop it over here. So you just click, drag, and hold, right? And then put it where you want it to go. And then, hey, I want to add some text stuff. So I can go into text and I can go to my library. And then if I upload this into my library, I don't even need to type the things I want to do. I can just click, hey, I want the John Morris Real Estate Group stuff to go in here. I can hold and drag it. And then I can space it out. If I want it to be one line, I can resize the text. I can change the font color if I want to. If this doesn't show up very good, like for example, I got black on here and it's got wood in the back, so it doesn't really show up that great. I can go in here and click shapes, and then I can go and say, hey, I want to put a rectangle here. So that drops a rectangle into the box. And so then I can go in and then I can go here, maybe move this over the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just match this up to my picture. And then I can grab one of the handlebars and shrink it down so that it looks like it's kind of even. And then I can pull this out by using the other handlebar a little bit to make it longer. And then now I can change the color to this. So I can go up to the color box here and I want to change it to white. And then I can either choose to leave a border on there or I can not leave the border on there. I'm going to make the border color here white as well. So it's just kind of an empty box. And put that behind there so that's a little bit tighter. And then now what I can do is I can drop that back in over here. I got to make this show up to the top. So I'm going to right click this. So I'm going to right click it. I'm going to hit layer order and I want to send to the top. That way it won't go behind the box. And then I can just drop that in there. If it's too long, then I can stretch this out a little bit. And then now I got that in there and it shows up a little bit better, right? And then I can do my phone number. I can do my website, any of that stuff that I want to. If I want to add a picture, I can go back to images. If I want to add text, I can go to add text, choose what I want here. You see that that drops that in there. I have my whole word editor here, so I can change color, backgrounds, font size, anything I want to do there, and drop it in, and I can put what I want to there as well. And then to make it easier, because sometimes it's hard to click in these boxes, I can click the typewriter, and then under the typewriter, I can just type what I want to type. So I can say Keller Williams, Tracy, 60 West 10th Street, Tracy, California, 95376, DRE 013-82377. So then I can hit save changes. Now that drops that in there. Now I'm going to change the font size because that's a little bit too big. And maybe I change that down to a 14-point font. So now you can see, and then maybe I change this one down a little bit too, so that makes that a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change that to 20 or 18. And I can pull that up just a little bit. So now my branding stuff's in here. Now you might say, hey, that's a lot of work for every time I have to do this. You only need to do it once, because what's going to happen is I'm going to put all my personal branding in first. I'm not going to change anything about the property. I'm just going to put my branding the way I want my branding to look. And then that way, whenever I get a new listing, I'm going to save it as a template. And then that way, whenever I get a new listing, all I need to do is create a copy of this template and then modify or change the information about the property, right? So I'm going to go in and first of all, like I said, I'm going to put in my, my stuff that I want in there. So I'm going to put my logos in there and stuff like that. So, hey, I want to change my DBA. So I'm going to swap out my DBA stuff. So I'm going to go in and change my DBA logo from this one to Tracy. So I'm going to delete that one out. I'll drop the Tracy down in here. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. If I needed to put a white background behind it, I showed you guys how to do that already, so I'm not going to do that right now. If I wanted to put my logo, I could put my logo in there as well. I'm going to shrink that down maybe and drop that a little bit closer to this box here so that it looks like it's in line with that a little bit better. Maybe shrink it just a little bit more. There you go. So now I got my logos, all that stuff inside of there. I'm gonna make this just a hair bigger there too. And then pull this in. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist there, so I'm gonna pull this out here and I'm gonna just drop this inside of here. That way it matches up and it's not overlapping at all too much. There we go. All right, so now I got my branding in there, all that good stuff. I got this stuff in here. I want to change the colors. I can go change any of the colors. I want to get rid of this red. Maybe I want blue, right? I can upload any image into Command that I want to. And let's say I wanted this blue. I can add that image to the card. And then now when I'm going to click on this red, I want to change that red to this blue. I can click on that. I can click the eyedropper. And then I can click on this blue, and that's going to give me the exact shade of blue that I want. And then once I'm done with that, I can then get rid of this image because I don't need it anymore. I just wanted it for the color. And then I can go and drop that same color in here as well. So once I got all that, I'm going to save this as a template. And then now whenever I get a just listed, my template's already ready to go. All I need to do is to put the property information in here. So I'm going to just put in, for example, just listed Facebook template as my title. And then I'm just going to click done. I hit save. So now when I get I just got a new listing. I want to go into my just listed Facebook template. I'm going to click the 3 ellipses. I'm going to hit make a copy. And then when I click make a copy, now I'm going to rename that copy by clicking the ellipses, and I'm going to say 1261. Actually, let me see. I'm going to pull one in just so I can show you something here real quick. So let me put this in back in my command. I want to go into my ads because I want to show you something real quick. And I need an address is what I need. And so I'm going to go and say, I'm going to do something on 1231 Robert. So I'm going to go and say 1231 Robert, just listed. Hit finish. Now that's going to rename that for me. So now I got to put my stuff for 1231 Robert in here. So I'm going to click on it. It's going to open this up. And then what's really cool is I can go in and I can click KWLS. I can search for, that was again 1231 Robert. So I'm going to put 1231 Robert. And then I'm going to click there. And so now I can see that the MLS information there. I can click select. That one didn't pop up. So let me go do this one more time. There we go. So this is the right MLS photo. So I got 1231 Robert Court. And so I can click that now. I'm going to click select. Actually, this is the right one, I think. There we go. So I got 1231 Robert. What's going to end up happening now, this is going to pull all the listing photos there. So now if I want to get this listing photo to be right here, or maybe I want this one, right? Because it's an interior shot. I'm going to pick the best photo that I might have here. And I'm going to say, okay, hey, listen, I want this photo right here. I'm going to do the interior. So now I'm going to basically replace it. So I'm going to click on the photo. And I'm going to add that in. And then I can resize it. Let me do this one more time here. This one's being a little bit tricky today. I think it's because I'm trying, there we go. Yep, so the thing is I was clicking on this box. You gotta be careful what you click. So it was highlighting the black stuff. I'm trying to get the picture that's underneath it. So sometimes you gotta click outside of some spots just to make sure you get what you want. So now I got the picture highlighted. So now that's going to allow me to hit replace. And by clicking replace, what that now does is it will automatically drop the picture I want in there and it will resize it perfectly. So I can click the replace button and then now you see that that changed that image for me to reflect the new image that I want in there, which is really cool. And if I wanted to add a couple other pictures, like let's say maybe the front of the house, I can add that in and then I can maybe resize it down here and then I can drop that in. So you can kind of play around with it, make it however you want it to look, right? So maybe I put something on the side here and I want to get maybe a picture of the backyard. So I can put the picture of the backyard in and I can resize that. So you can do some different stuff there as well. And you just play around to make it the way that you want it to look. Now, in terms of getting the information about the property, that's another cool thing that you can do too. So if I scroll back up to the top, I can click back. And then instead of listings, I can go in and I can click snapshots. And then that's going to give me neighborhood snapshots if I want to get neighborhood information. In addition to that, if I click the X out and I go back into 1231 Robert again, right, I can go in and I can click select. And instead of just the photos, right, I got listing details. So under listing details, I can then now say, okay, hey, listen, rather than having to retype all this stuff out, I can say, hey, I want to change the address. So I'm going to click on the address and then I can then just swap out the address here. So now that changes it to the address without me having to retype it. And then I can go in here and say, all right, what's the other information here? It is basically, now this is one line of text. So since this is one line of text, I don't want to swap it out evenly because if I say, for example, do 649, it's only going to put 649 in there. So what I can do here now, though, is I can click that typewriter and then I can say, okay, how many beds is this? This is a 3-2. So a 3-2, I don't need to change anything. 3,100 square feet. So I'm going to just say, or 3170. So I'm going to change that really easily right there. We're priced out here at 649. And this one was built in 2004. Hit save. Now that's all changed and ready to go for me as well there too. So you can see that once the template is set up, that's what's going to take the longest amount of time for you, is just kind of creating that template. Because once the template is set up, then changing the information about the house is really easy. All I need to do is search for the property, pulls the pictures in, I swap out whatever pictures I want in, and then I can really easily change the information about the property by going from photos to listing details, right? And then, like I said, if I go back and I want to put anything about the neighborhood in here, I can do a neighborhood snapshot and I can type in Ripon West because this is the neighborhood here. And then I can click this. And then by clicking that, if I wanted to add any images, say, for example, about Ripon West, I can add that stuff on there as well. So like, for example, maybe I want to get rid of these pictures because I don't want the extra pictures there. But I want to put some neighborhood information on there. I could basically drop this in, resize it down, And then that gives them, the consumers, some info maybe if I wanted to put that in there. Let me undo that. Put that in there about, hey, what's going on in Ripon West, right? Now, once I'm done with that, I can, and I'm ready to go, I can click download, and now that will download that image. I can either get downloaded as a PDF or a JPEG, and I can hit download. And then now I have that picture that I can do lots of stuff with. I can print this and send to a printer. I can upload this to social media for a social media image. I could put it in flyers, postcards, whatever I need it to do, right? And the process, I'm not going to show you how to do a social media image like this and do a flyer, because it's the same editor, right? So if you know how to use, add images in, if you know how to put logos in and do the drawings like I showed you, and you drop text stuff in, then you can do that that way and just play around with it. And again, I know this is a lot to throw at you guys in one spot. So I'm going to give you, like I said, I promised you guys I would send you guys some resources at the end of the class here. So I'm going to hop out of here now. We're going to click done. And we're going to just go into campaigns really fast. So we're going to go to campaigns on the side here. And when we go to campaigns, we have a couple different things that we can do. We got paid ads, we got emails, we got direct mail, and social posts, right? And so what I'm going to cover today, because the email editor is still a little bit funky right now, so they're still doing some corrections on that. So I'm not going to really cover emails today. Really quickly, I will work on covering these other things really fast. So social posts really quick. This is free. I connect my Facebook business page to an account, and I want to post something on my business page. I can just hit create social posts down here. And then I can type what I want to say. I can upload a photo, a video, add a link. If I want to choose any images from my design library that I created, like that one that I just did, I can choose my design library. I want to add that one that we just put in there. So now that will put that image inside of there. And then it's going to ask me to basically do the placement. I want to do wide so that it shows the whole thing. I'm going to hit crop image. Now that's going to put that image in there for me, right? I can include my ownership statement for compliance. And then what's really cool is I can schedule these out. So I can click the calendar here and say, hey, when do I want this to go out? And what time of day do I want it to go out? And then if I want to see a preview of what the post is going to look like, I can click preview. And then I can see, hey, this is what it's going to show up like on my Facebook business page, right? And then I can choose the different pages that I have connected to my account, which will then show me the ability to do that there. What's really neat and powerful about this to me is this, is we get really, really busy as real estate agents sometimes and don't have time to post. And we know that being consistent on social media is what's going to make it work for us, right? And with the scheduler, I can log into Command on Sunday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, drink my cup of coffee. Everybody else is still sleeping. I can knock out a week's worth of social media posts, put the dates and times I want those things to go out, and then I can forget it until next Sunday because the things are already being scheduled for me, and Command will release those posts at the date and time I want those to be released to my people, which I think is really powerful, right? So I can schedule those out. I can look at the calendar to see when I got posts coming. I can go back and edit posts. If I'm not super original with my content, I can go in here and I can say, look at one of these suggested posts, and I can say, hey, I want to run this. This looks good. So I can click the arrow here, and then this is going to give me a pre-made post that I don't even need to type, right? I can go in here, hey, I don't like what this says. I hit shuffle. And then it's going to shuffle through some different things on some different ideas on what I might want it to say. I can change the picture if I wanted to change the picture, but there's already one uploaded for me. Literally, this is kind of ready to go. All I need to do is find what I want it to say. I like the emoji, so I'm going to use this one. And then I got the picture already set up for me. And then I'm going to schedule the post. I want this to go out tomorrow at, let's just say, 6 p.m. Then I hit schedule post. And then now I can see that that makes it so that I got a post that's going to come out tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I don't need to worry about it. It's going out. Now, the last thing, I'm not going to wait for this to process because, like I said, I want to try to get us through. Actually, it did. So now you can see when you got stuff scheduled, it's going to show up on your calendar and it's going to tell you when this is going to go out. If you want to go back and edit it before it goes out, you can edit it. And if you want to delete it, you can delete it. Once it gets posted, if people like it, comment on it, or forward it, or share it, you're going to see those numbers populate inside of there, which is really cool. And then, you know, you even have video. I can go in here and schedule a video out. And basically, I just search for the neighborhood. So I'm going to put my neighborhood in here real quick. Click next. Basically, you find your neighborhood, you click next, and then you get the prices populate in from the MLS. If you want to override any of these numbers or these statistics, you can do that. Once you're good with this, you check the agent information, make sure that that's good, and then you check to make sure your brokerage stuff is good, then you click next, and it creates a video for you, right? And then once the video generates or populates, then you're going to have the ability to post a video to send out to your people as well too. In addition to this, this is also in your designs going to create this video so that you can then download this, you can upload this to other stuff, you can send that, you can get a link to this, or you can embed this stuff inside of landing pages. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with the video once the video is created. And it basically makes just a little mini commercial. So I'll show you what that looks like really fast. And it's buffering out, so I'm going to rewind it just a second. And the thing I like about this is I could do this at a listing table and show a seller how fast and easy I can not only market their home, but market their neighborhood too, which I think is pretty powerful stuff. So a lot of cool stuff that you can do with that. Same thing with direct mail. If I wanted to do mailers, just to show you really quick, I'll show you the one that I've already kind of started working on. If I go to this one here real quick. When I want to set up a new mailer, I can go into basically, let me go back to direct mail. I wanted to do, let me try the second one, I think here. Just want to show you the first page of one that I've already done. All right, so let me go back and I'll show you how to start one from scratch. I do want to show you this real quick because this will save me some time in a minute. So I'm going to hit create new campaign. I'm going to do direct mail. And then I'm going to just say demo. I want to advertise a listing. And then I'm going to use the default templates. So I'm going to hit set up campaign. And then when I want to create a mailer, I just find my property, 1231 Robert. I hit search. And then you can see the property pops up here. It's got the information already populated in for me. I can change the listing status. I can leave it open. It's optional. I got to put the bed and the bath count in here. So it's a 3-2. The MLS description pops up in here, but I probably am going to want to change that so that it doesn't get too wordy. So I'm going to just I'm not going to type a whole thing here just for the sake of being fast. And this is the way I generally tell people when we're creating social media ads or we're doing postcards, I want people to contact me because I want to capture their lead information. So think of it like a movie trailer. I want to give a highlight about the property. I want to give a highlight about the neighborhood maybe, and just enough to get their appetite wet and say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But I want to learn more because the person didn't give me maybe the price, or I didn't get the bed and bath count, or I didn't get the square footage, right? So I'm going to tell you just enough to get you to want to buy a ticket to the movie, but I'm not going to give the plot away. So you type your description in here. After you get the description done, you add a photo that you want to add in there. It's got to be a high resolution shot. If it's not a high resolution shot, it's going to tell you that it's too low resolution, right? So you're going to have to get, and this is going to give you the information on the best recommended picture. And most of the ones that get pulled from the MLS aren't going to be the best res. Once you got the picture okay, you can go into agent and you can make sure that your name and information is in there. And then you can put your email address, your phone number. And then once that's good, you hit save. You go into the market center information, make sure all that stuff is entered in correctly. And then you go into targeting. You can target either your database, so you can select people in your database that you want to market to, or you can do local targeting, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And then you can set your budget up. What do I want? How many postcards do I want to send and what postage class? And then I can select over here, if I want a 4x6, a 6x9, a 6x11, or a 6x11 here. I like this one here, so maybe I'm going to do this. And then that'll change the price because it'll show you, it's going to tell you exactly how much it's going to cost you. So if I want 200 postcards, first class, it's going to cost me 240 bucks. So once you're done with this, setting up the postcard the way you want it to be, then you're going to go to configure targeting. So I'm going to go back to direct mail so that I don't have to actually create that. And then I'll show you what that looks like. So direct targeting, and I know that we're already at 3 o'clock. I said we'd probably go over a few minutes. So if you have to bounce out early, I know we're going to be recording this and sending that out to you guys. But give me, I promise to finish up within the next 9 minutes. All right. So once you go to targeting, I can say, hey, do I want to adjust the number of homes to more or less? Do I want to send this to multifamily, single family, or all? Maybe I only want to market to single family. And then you can adjust the bed and bath count. And what I really like about this is if I'm prospecting for listings, maybe I go, or maybe I'm prospecting for a buyer. I want to send a postcard out to this area and I want to prospect for potential business. Hey, I got a buyer in this area and I'm looking for properties that are at least, anywhere, at least 3 bedrooms. So I'm going to put at least 3 bedrooms because that's what my buyer is looking for. So I'm going to say 3 to 6. And then my buyer wants a property that's at least 2,000 square feet and no more than say 3,500 square feet. So I can adjust that there. And then they want a house that's relatively new. So I can adjust the year built. So we're going to say 2000 to 2020. And then here's what's really cool too, is I can say, hey, listen, I want a property that didn't sell last year because probably the person doesn't have any equity in it. So I want somebody that's bought the house at least 6 years ago. So last sold 2014. And I know houses in here are going for, say, 400 grand or something along those lines. So I want somebody that last sold for maybe 300,000 because I know that they have at least 100 grand in equity if they bought it for 300, right? So I could go in here and I can adjust the last sold price for. So now I know that this postcard's only going to go out to people, right? Now, it actually took my criteria down from 200 to 115. So now I know it's only going to go out to these 115 people, and it's going to be highly targeted to people that are going to help me get the listing that I want so that I can basically sell it to my buyer. And then maybe I know, for example, that this particular house right here at 4605 Meadowwood, I know that an agent lives there, and I don't want to waste my money sending the card to the agent. I can go and click remove, and then now that will remove that property from being sent out. And then, hey, I don't want these outliers because my person's not interested in living in the areas here. I can basically go and scroll up to the top, and then I can use the mapping tool, and I can draw a map around just the area that my person is interested in by clicking that and then drawing that map around that. So now that takes me down to 100 postcards that I'm gonna send out. So now I'm being more purposeful about the cards that I'm sending, and it's going to people who are gonna help me generate the listings that I wanna get for potentially the buyers that I wanna get, right? So that's how you set up your direct mail campaigns. And then the last one I'll show you real fast, and there's a lot of resources on here on this, but so I'll just show you real quick, is if I want to do a social media campaign and I want to run Facebook ads, because that's the big thing right now is we're averaging like $2 a lead right now in the country using our Facebook ads. So I go in and I click that I want to run a social ad, I want to run demo, I pick what do I want to do, advertise a listing, any of these things. Advertising listings are what's getting us the most leads. So if you don't have a listing, ask somebody if you can borrow one. And then so you advertise a listing, I want to run it on Facebook. You can do Twitter and Instagram. Facebook's getting the best bang for the buck right now. And then you just hit set up campaign. It's going to ask you to choose the property address, 1231 Robert. I hit search. And then I can find that property. I can hit select. And then once I hit select, it's going to ask me, it uploads all the information in for me. Now, for the sake of time, rather than going through this, I'm going to show you one that I've already created on this property. So we can go through that a little bit faster. So I'm going to just show you how that looks. I'm going to hit duplicate campaign. I'm going to duplicate and customize. So once I entered that stuff in, then I got my name and my goal. I got the property on here. Under add text, I change what the MLS remarks say, because like I said, I want to do more of a trailer, movie trailer. So I want to just give some, I put no information in about the property stats. I just say, hey, this is a ripping stunner, spacious home, checks all of the boxes off with a kitchen fit for a chef, quiet cul-de-sac location, upstairs loft, close to golf, and hey, great ripping school district. Click learn more for the pics and details. Now you notice I put emojis in there, and you can put emojis by clicking the emoji button down here. And the reason you want to do that is that we know from talking and working with Facebook, the number one thing you want to do when you're running an ad on Facebook is get people to stop the scroll. Because if they don't stop scrolling down the page, you're not going to get anybody look at your ad anyway, right? And so by putting those little bit of emojis in there, that word, rather than having this constant stream of texts, those images break up that brain pattern and it gets people to stop and take a look at it. And so you want to throw a few emojis in there so that it breaks up those word patterns with people. So this is kind of an example that I could show you here. And then I'm not telling anybody I'm getting them excited about what the home has to offer, but I'm not giving them any of the stats, square footage, price, bed bath count. They got to click learn more. And I put that call to action in there to get the information. And then you got your headline. I put, hey, it's ripping, need to say more, because this is a desirable area in the valley. And then under description, I just put in something to the effect of view photos and all the information about this amazing home. So you're telling people if they click learn more, what are they going to get? Once I'm good with all that, I hit save add text. And I'm just basically going through making sure all the text boxes are checked off. Under add media, I hit configure. And Facebook basically suggests that you put anywhere from 3 to 5 pictures on there. Don't put too many, because if I know too much about the property, I'm not going to click on it. I was just working with an agent the other day that did a video. It was a 3-minute video he did on an ad. And I said, nobody's watching a 3-minute video on social media because nobody's attention span's that long. And I said, the other thing is you're showing them everything about the house so they don't have to contact you. So I told them to cut it down a little bit. So you can add images, you can add videos. This pulls from the MLS. If you have higher resolution shots, you can upload those. If you created a design inside of designs, you can upload that. If you wanted to add videos, you can add any videos in there as well too. You got your compliance stuff with your DBA logo and your ownership statement that's already built in. You can see that that shows up down at the bottom of the ads. And then you got the channel options where it says Facebook ad. So you can choose the business page that you want to connect it to. You can use either site or landing page or a lead generation form on where you want them to go when they click learn more. I always like to do the Facebook lead gen form because that gets you the most leads. Just Facebook finds that when people are on Facebook, they don't want to leave Facebook to go to a strange site. So if you use Facebook's own form, they get to stay on Facebook. Plus the form auto-populates with their contact information. So they don't need to enter information out. They just need to hit submit. So it makes it easier for them to click submit on your form. And then what you want to put in here is once they click that they leave their information and click submit, then I put the follow-up destination so that they get the information that I promised them. So what I typically do when I'm advertising a listing is I'll go to my website, find the listing on my website, copy that link, and then I'll put that in here. If I wanted to create a landing page around that, I can do that as well too, and this syncs up with my landing pages. So you can see all the landing pages that show up. And then you go to add targeting. I can target a custom audience, or I can target my database, or a little bit of both. So I'm gonna hit target custom audience because I want to get new leads. I can set up where I want to run this ad to. I can put a radius that I want this to go around. And then I can put some interests here so that I can increase the likelihood that a real buyer or seller is going to click on this. So I put in interests like Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, mortgage insurance, mortgage loan, mortgage calculator, house hunting, homes.com, for sale by owner, anything that does with real estate. And what you want to do is you don't want to put and. Because as you're adding the interest in, if you put and, it means that if I put and, somebody has to like custom homes, renting and rent, and has to like all these things. I don't care if they like all these things. I just want them to show an interest in one of those things. And so basically what Facebook's then going to do is that's looking at who's determining who it's going to show the ad to. It's saying, hey, have they visited Zillow's pages, whether it's Zillow.com or a Zillow ad on Facebook or Zillow's Facebook business page? Have they liked anything that's done with Zillow? So it's basically looking at, has anybody shown any interest in any of those things? And then it's going to then now look for people who fit the criteria that you set up here, plus the expert criteria down here, right? So really quick to give you guys some bonus resources, I'm going to put in interests. So let me open this up real quick. So you guys can copy and paste this, so you don't have to do this on your own every time. These are the most commonly used ones that are getting the best results for people. So in the chat box, I'm going to paste all the interests that I use. And then you guys can copy and paste those. Once you're done with the interest, you hit Save Facebook Ad. Then just go to duration and budget. And hey, Facebook basically says, do a 10-day ad. Because the first 3 days, the algorithm is learning who's responding to the ad, who's stopping in the ad, how much time they're spending on the ad, who's the ones clicking on it, who's not clicking on it, and it's looking for patterns. Then it's going to say, who are the people out there that are more similar to the ones that are clicking on it or liking it or responding to it or leaving their information? Who are more people that are like the ones that aren't clicking on it or aren't responding to it? Facebook's then going to stop showing it to people who are similar to the ones that don't respond, and it's going to show it more to people who are similar to the ones that do respond, which is what's driving our cost per lead down. Once you're good with the duration and budget, then you can hit publish campaign, and then that'll launch it. And then you can go back here and then just see the results. And then we'll wrap this up and you guys can ask any questions that you want. So if I go to paid ads, I can see this one that I ran on Robert, ran it for 10 days, got almost 2,000 impressions, 126 people clicked on the ad, 19 people left their information. For a $30 ad spend, my average cost per lead was $1.58. So $1.50, let's just say, for example, I wanted to get a deal out of this. 19 leads might not get me a transaction out of this. It would take me, the average, they say it takes about 100 leads to get one transaction now. Out of those 100 leads, I should close about 3 of them, right? 2 to 3 of those. But right now, I could probably get 1 if it's 1 transaction. So if I wanted to get 1 transaction, I need 100 leads, which would cost me $158. and $158. Basically, the commission on this property is $640,000 is what it's listed at. So 640 times 0.025, you're looking at a $16,000 commission off of a $158 ad spend. So that's like printing money. I'm going to do that all day long. Okay. All right, some resources. It says really quick too. So I'm going to stop the stuff here. Actually, before I stop the share, I'm going to show you some stuff. It says, hey John, how much do you allocate per day for the ads? Facebook says anywhere for 10 optimized. You're looking at 10 days and spend anywhere from $3 to $5 a day. So 30 to 50 bucks. I have an agent in Maryland, and like I said, the time that it takes to get an online lead to actually pull the trigger is a long time. I mean, a lot of these leads aren't going to really do anything for 6 to 12 months. And so it's going to probably take you a good 6 to 12 months before stuff really starts to happen. But I have an agent in Maryland, DC, that basically spent about a year doing Facebook ads consistently. And basically all he was doing is he was running one $30 ad every week. So he's spending 120 bucks a month. And after a year now, he's consistently closing 2 transactions every month off of a $120 ad spend. But he's been diligent and he's been playing the game. And he knows how to follow up with people really well. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you do that stuff. So really quick, just to give you guys some resources to learn more. If I go to answers.kw.com, I can go into command. And when I click command, they have basically a help articles on anything inside of command. So you got help and support, accessing command, command team functionality, command settings, contacts, opportunities, DocuSign, consumer, task manager, designs, referrals, command feedback, campaigns, smart plans, reports, listings, contact importing. You got all these things. So like, for example, campaigns. You can see 36 articles on stuff. Hey, I want to know how to launch a Facebook ad campaign. John talked about it. I need more information on it. Set up for success before launching a Facebook ad campaign. Awesome. Click on that. I got a whole tutorial on how to create a Facebook business page, how to connect my Facebook command and account, how to complete my marketing profile, all that good stuff. And then now that I'm ready to create a Facebook ad campaign, I can click here to get started. This is going to take me through a video on how to set up my ad campaign. It's going to give me pictures with details on how to set everything up and walk me through the whole process of setting that stuff up. So this is my favorite spot to learn more about anything and all things command, is just go to answers.kw.com. And that's going to give you all kinds of good resources as far as that goes. Okay. Now, the other thing too, as we're in here, hey, John, how do I find the leads once they come in? You're going to get a notification that a lead came in up top here, so you can access that way. Or I can go to the ad, and where it has 19 leads right here, I can click the 19, and then that's going to give me a list of all the leads that came in from that singular ad. And then I can go into each one, and then if I wanted to add them to smart plans to drip on them, I can add them to smart plans, and I can see all the interaction that I've been having with this particular person, right? So I can see this person viewed my landing pages that I've sent to them, that they favorited a listing, all that good stuff, which is really cool, because now I know that I can go and I can reach out to this person. Okay. Yeah, so answers.kw.com is going to really be helpful for you guys. What are some questions? What are some ahas? What are some things that you would have liked me to go over that I didn't go over? What are some things that, what did you get from the session over the last 2 days? I guess you guys didn't learn anything, so I'm going to go get offline and I'm going to cry now as far as that goes. Robert's saying, can we have more classes? Reach out to Stacy and Olivia about that. They can set stuff up as far as that goes. I gave you the resources for my website. I gave you guys the resources for the command class, for the kind of basic stuff. I gave you my YouTube channel information earlier today. Gave you guys the list, or the buyer and seller checklists yesterday, so you have access to those things. Answers.kw.com. All those things are really great resources for you guys to be able to access and learn more. Other than that, if you guys don't have any other questions, really thank you guys for hanging out the last couple days. Had a whole lot of fun, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. Again, my email address is johnmorris@kw.com. Hopefully you guys got some good stuff out of this. And then I know that Stacy said that a lot of this information is being posted on your guys's Facebook page. So make sure that you guys go and add that as well. And then Robert said, how would you add postcards to command? If you want to add information, or when you're going to create a postcard, if you've got a template already set up, you can go in and then you can upload your own template. You don't have to use the ones that are on there already. Okay?
On the postcards really quick, so you didn't go to the end, so it actually sends it out and charges you somehow when you're done with the postcards?
Yeah, you'll enter the billing information or the payment information in there, and then they'll put the postage and mail that out for you. One of the tips that I would always suggest that you do is make sure that you're on that list, because you have the option to select that you want to get a postcard mailed to you. So always make sure that you mail one to yourself so that you can see what your people are seeing. Okay. And then Robert says, what if you send outside of the system and you wanted to document that in the system? Well, if you do it outside of the system, the only thing that you're going to do is that if I know, for example, like let's say for example this, I go into my contacts. Let me hit share real quick. So if I go into contacts and if I'm pulling my list from here, so I want to go and say, hey, I'm going to mail a postcard out to all the leadership for Maryland, DC. So I'm going to pull my list from here. I'm going to select 50 contacts at a time, and then I'm going to click on this, or I can export the mailing labels, right? So I can hit export mailing labels. So I'm going to hit export mailing labels. I can do it as a PDF or whatever here. I'm going to export the mailing labels. That's now being processed. I got the mailing labels that I'm going to send out to the postcards here now. Now, if I wanted to notate that a postcard was been sent out, I could come back in here now, find MDC, and then I can do bulk action, and then I can add a bulk note. And then I could put in postcard mailed 9/23. Put a description of what I did, and then hit save, and then that'll add a note to everybody inside a command that I sent that postcard to about that being sent out. So if I don't use the system and I want to notate it in there, that's a way that you could do it. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys for the last couple of days. I know we went a little bit over, but it's always good when you guys have questions. Happy to stick around as long as we can and start using command. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Great class.
Thank you, guys.